Hi guys, in the next series of videos we're going to be looking at the theme of feminism and gender for our Love Through the Ages topic. We're going to briefly look at an overview of feminism and gender through the ages. We will then look at some examples of different presentations of feminism in literature from a variety of different eras. We will then look at an exam-style question on this theme, comparing poetry and a prose extract, and look at a potential essay structure we could use to answer this type of question.
So firstly, when approaching this theme, there are certain questions we have to ask ourselves. We have to ask ourselves, how have literary presentations of women changed across time? How might sexuality interact with love through the ages? What roles are women traditionally presented in terms of love and relationships, and how has this changed over time? How might a text change if you consider it from a feminist perspective? What were the traditional gender roles of the time in which the text you're studying was written? So, with these questions in mind, we're just going to take a look at a few examples of texts that we can look at from a feminist or perspective, or that discuss issues relating to women or gender inequality. So let's take a look at the idea of traditional presentations of women. In a lot of poetry before 1900, so before the 20th century, women were typically presented as beautiful objects. Many poems of the 16th and 17th century were attempts to get a woman into bed. There was a huge conflict between the idea of a virgin woman being the most pure and honourable, but also the most desirable. Women were supposed to not seem too keen, but not seem too prudish either. So there's a very complex idea of women in the early and mid-19th century. So I'm just going to scroll through this poem, To His Coy Mistress by Andrew Marvell. Have a read of it, pause the video, and then come back and I'll talk through it later. So we can see that this poem is essentially an attempt to flirt with a woman to get her to sleep with the narrator of the poem. Andrew Marvell was what is known as one of the metaphysical poets, essentially poets who used complex arguments and conceits to persuade the person who the poem was directed at. This poem, we can see, talks about prudishness and perhaps indicates that prudishness is a crime.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're looking for an amazing A-level English literature resource, join me today in my series of engaging bite-sized video tutorials. Together, we will concisely cover all the important concepts required by your exam board specification, as well as practically apply what we have learnt through exam-style questions, focusing on how best to structure your answers in order to maximise marks. See you soon. And together, let's make A-level English literature a walk in the park.